All right, welcome to the Entrepreneur's Corner. We have the lovely Trayonna with us. Say hi, Trayonna, to the people.
Hi.
Me and Trayonna go way back. She used to model for me. I went to her pageant.
Yes.
I supported her way back then. Then she forgot about me, and it's all good. But
No.
hey, but we're here today. we're here today with Trayonna. Trayonna, let's get right into it. You went to school for what?
I went to school for broadcast journalism and cinema studies.
Ah, broadcast journalism and cinema studies.
Yes.
Now, the difference, because I am a believer in you don't need school, right?
Okay.
So, not that I don't believe it, I believe it is you don't need school to get to where you're going. But you went the school route, right? So I would want to know and tell the people the benefits, because I do believe there's benefits of going to school. So what are some of the benefits of someone in your field from going to college and then getting to the career that you are today?
I think the biggest benefit is the network, right? Once you are part of a camaraderie where you are surrounded by like-minded people, specifically for an experience like me, I went to an HBCU, the illustrious Hampton University.
It's in Norfolk State, the illustrious Norfolk State? The whole
Hampton University is what I said.
Oh, okay.
The standard of excellence. I don't know if you know. You can Google. Just kidding. But no, I did go to Hampton, and like similar people who attend HBCUs, it's a great environment to network and to be nurtured. Outside of that, you can really get the information that you need depending on the field that you are intending on working in or being part of, or building a career. You don't necessarily have to go to college. It's not a requirement. Now, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer and things like that actually require prerequisites, then obviously it is necessary. But if you just want to build and to grow, there are opportunities, especially now with technology and how it has evolved. There's workshops online. There's different events that you can find yourself. You just have to invest in yourself. But you don't lose from attending college at all. You get to it's a safe space to grow.
Right, and that's what I always tell people. I say, college is great for networking because you never know who you're going to run into, who you're going to network with, because someone you're in the same dorm with may be the next president of some building of some company. So you never know that connection. So I believe, just like you, there are benefits, but you don't have to, depending on the field that you're in.
Yeah.
But speaking of going to school, a lot of people go to school, graduate, and then they don't even do what they went to school for.
Yeah.
You went to school, graduated, and you're in the field, I'm assuming, some type of field.
Yes.
Right? Because you said cinema.
Yes.
You did cinema studies.
I did.
And then you start working where?
Well, okay, so here's how the journey went. Well,
Tell us the journey.
Let's start off by saying I am blessed and highly favored.
Hallelujah.
Let's not miss the credit, okay? Because all the glory goes to God.
Amen.
That's for sure.
Right.
And it is because of God's grace that I have been blessed with so many different opportunities that align with what I studied.
Exactly.
I started off, my first big opportunity was studying abroad and working on a documentary series in China. That was my big hands-on experience. But in terms of like cinema studies was when I interned for the Lincoln Center for Performing Arts in New York City. That was when I was exposed to the opportunities. I was like, oh, it's more to broadcast journalism than just broadcast news. Like there's different arenas. There's different ways that you can be involved and there's different ways of storytelling. So I started my experience there, did a lot of internships. Once I got into grad school, I went to the CUNY J School.
Okay.
That's when I started to intern with networks. Like my first network internship was MSNBC.
Okay.
And from there, I went to NBC Sports.
Oh, wow.
And then from NBC Sports, I went to the Today Show, which is where I'm with now.
So let's go back. So you went to, now you don't have to go in detail.
Okay.
But what did you learn from going to China? What did you learn from studying abroad that helped you take it to the next level that you went to?
The biggest thing I learned was how communication, regardless of your culture, regardless of where you are on this world, is very similar in terms of how things work.
Right.
The same things we do in America when it comes to putting on an interview or putting on or getting B-roll. The language is different, but the execution is the same. And because of that, I was able to connect with people from an entire different culture and learn specific, I guess, preferences that they had and things of that nature, and just how people worked, you know, like that was one of the things that I realized. Regardless of where you're from or where you are, people appreciate initiative, people appreciate assistance and like actual doers and stuff like that. So just like core foundational work ethic
that you
will take you a long way, regardless of what your experience is, right? And because of that, I felt like I was in a space where I could grow, and I utilized it. I asked a lot of questions with Google Translator. I asked a lot of questions, and I also tried a lot. And because I tried a lot, and I was able to get a lot of content to put into my portfolio and like reel, that put me in a better predicament for when I looked for different opportunities after that experience. And because it was long form, that's kind of what I focused on. That's what I went to grad school for and stuff like that. But yeah, that experience in itself definitely benefited me, because I believe when people looked at my resume and they heard about the experience, they felt like, oh, you have a broad experience. You are, I guess, easily to connect with and things like that, and they immediately see that as experience, which it was. So that was a big benefit. And
so learning, and so what I believe I got from that is you know, you need to, your mind, not just study abroad, but your mind need to be abroad. You need to ask questions. You need to talk to people. You need to go after what it is that you're looking for. You can't just, she went to China and didn't just sit there and think opportunities are going to come to her. She went out there and got it. And plus, from what I've known of Trayonna, her classiness, the way that she delivers her speech, her talk, her presence, that's all that is affected. And I mentioned God, but all of that God-given ability to communicate with people, to talk to people, to know how to address people properly, help put her in the right predicament. So now you're working for MSNBC, right? Or your last opportunity was what?
My last opportunity was very swift. It was NBC Sports, because it was still documentary. I was intending on continuing my experience with documentaries, and at the time when there was a 2020 Olympics, my job was going to be to work on the profile stories of each athlete.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's
and
dope.
Then COVID.
And darn COVID.
Yes.
Darn you.
But God just always, He has the largest plan, right? Before I even knew that there was going to be COVID, I got the opportunity with the Today Show, because that position with NBC Sports was an internship, and I knew that I didn't, and I knew that I didn't want to be complacent, and also was in Connecticut, and I lived in New York at the time, and that commute was not a joke. So I and I wanted to be open-minded, because it was intense in terms of like working in the sports. I thought, I was like, oh, I know production, and I know a few athletes, and then it was just like stats, and I was just like, wow. But I, like I said, the same thing that I did when I was in China and any other opportunity, I utilized the resources that I was given. I tried my best to take heed to what I was expected to do and also what I was surrounded by. So that way, when I was in a different environment, I can kind of pull from that experience, because I feel like it's a feeling. I felt like I wasn't going to stay there. And so while I was there, I was looking for other opportunities. And that's when I came across the actual staff position for the Today Show. And that's where I am.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we're not going to be long. Last thing, what is your next move as far as like, do you want to stay at, I'm sure you want to stay there but do you have any plans of doing anything on the side of your own? Or you want to take what you learn and just whatever you gather, you want to put that solely into the days show or?
First off, the position that I'm in is a contract position.
Okay.
So technically, you have like a year with the contract, and then it's up to the show or the network to extend you.
Okay.
And thankfully, I was extended because
That's
my
what we
contract
prayed
ended.
for it to be extended.
Yeah, it was. However, once again, I feel like it's always a journey. I don't see myself just being in one space, just with one network. To answer your question, yes, I do intend to utilize all the things that I've been able to do elsewhere, with whether it's just independently or with another show. But to answer your question, I'm doing that now. Like I still do different things on the side. I work with other people, constituents. I collaborate with people when the opportunity presents itself. So I guess what's next is me continuing to grow. More prosperity and then more presence. I want to be a bit more present because a lot of the things that I've done has been behind the scenes. Like a lot of people don't really know. It's like one of those things, if you know, you know. You see a credit or something, you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, I intend to be a bit more present in the future. I think that would open up even more opportunities for me.
Most definitely. Well, you heard it first. Again, with the lovely Trayonna. Trayonna, how can they reach you if someone like you, if somebody is in your shoes, if someone saw this and got inspired and want to ask you, how did you make it, how the ups and downs of the journey, how can they reach you?
Well, I can be reached
social media wise.
Yes. Okay.
Not your phone number because I don't want it.
Okay. So social media wise is pretty straightforward. My @ on Instagram is T_Hendricks, which is HENDRICKSSS. And yeah, I am pretty accessible to an extent. And I'm open to any questions, whether it's networking opportunities or, like you said, just wanting to know how did you persist? How did you overcome obstacles? Any of those things I'm always open to talking about because. And
one last thing, I remember when she was in New York, she had some obstacles. So she has stories from New York about a homeless guy or something like that.
Oh yeah.
My God. But she said she had stories today. So it wasn't just a smooth journey.
It was not.
It was not just it was ups and downs and ins and outs and
a lot.
Crying days and not crying days and ups and downs. So but the thing of she stuck with it. She didn't give up. She kept the faith, and look where she is now. So thank you for watching the Entrepreneur's Corner. I'm your host, Issa Bolden.